there's one last critical ingredient when it comes to healing burnout. So a couple years ago, I became captivated with this concept of tenderness. And if you look tenderness up, there's very little academic research on it. And in fact, when you look for research articles, almost all the references to tenderness have to do with meat tenderizers or physical pain. But my curiosity just wouldn't leave me. And for me, I kind of experienced tenderness as this pathway to that interdependence, that sense of connection. And so I reached out to a friend of mine who's an emotion scientist at the Yale Center for Emotional Intelligence. And a few years ago, we launched some of the largest scale studies on tenderness. And this is hot off the press because I met with him yesterday and we wrapped up our final study before we have an academic paper coming out later this year. And I can share with you that tenderness is a protective factor against burnout. And what do I mean by that? Well, when you experience tenderness, you are also experiencing the characteristics of warmth, gentleness, genuineness, and a deep sense of interconnectedness. And these characteristics can lead to really profound outcomes, like being willing to help others, but more importantly, especially for school social workers, being willing to receive help, and also increasing gratitude. And so tenderness correlates with psychological health and well-being. It also invites us to slow down. If you really start becoming intimate with tenderness, you'll notice you can't be tender and move fast at the same time. It's really hard. And slowing down is not retreating. It's actually reclaiming our energy, our focus, our joy. Another interesting fact about tenderness, you can't really be in a judgmental state and be tender at the same time too. So I invite you to play around with that. If you can be tender and judgmental, they can't really coexist. And so my invitation to you is to try a little tenderness, as Otis Redding would say this weekend, and go on your own experiment. You know, what is tenderness? What does it feel like in my body? How is it landing? And to just go on your own little experiment with it.